Hi, it's Megan. I promised a couple people I would do a video tutorial on the Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca palette, and my tutorial is more about getting a natural-ish sort of look, not in all those vivid, beautiful, colorful things. And part of it is I love color, but honestly, I can't wear a lot of those bold, bright, amazing, eye-popping, colorful looks every day. And a lot of people also can't. Plus, some people are like attracted to color, but aren't quite ready for that yet. So I'm gonna kind of go through a few tips that I have for ways of using a palette like this, which has a lot of color. What's great about this particular palette, so if you don't know, what's great about this palette is, first of all, it already comes with some neutrals, which just make it so much easier. It's not that I don't love all those palettes with just like color, but they just, for me, are very rarely a standalone palette. And then it also has a cheat sheet of looks. So a couple tips just overall if you're looking for how to use color, and I'm going to do one that's like if you want wild color, and then the rest is going to be if you want neutral color. So if you really want the colors to pop, the best way to do it is to use a base. So in this video I won't be using any base at all since I want a more natural look. You can use just a regular eyeshadow base, primer, whatever, but better is using something like a white base. This is the NYX Milk. So it comes off like this. Or what's really cool is a dark base, and here I've got NARS Ubangi, which is like a deep blue cream eyeshadow, but you can use any kind of cream black dark thing. But I grabbed this one, and I'm going to take a color and show you the difference with these two bases. So these are the bases, and I'm just going to take Vinyl, which is like this light green, and if you see it alone, just a light color. I picked this one because it does come across so light alone. And then I might have to just watch while I do this. Yeah. If you take Vinyl, and so up top it's alone, it's really light, and then here it's over the white, and here it's over the black. It just is a totally different look. And it's fun, it's something to do. With the Kat Von D shadows, they tend to be a little bit softer, and that's why any base, in my opinion, kind of sucks in that color. So I actually rarely use an eyeshadow primer with these, just because that slightly powdery texture, it ends up being a little too much for me. Anytime you want to take a color and it's just too much, you can always take a matte white eyeshadow, and let's say you put, because I was actually playing with these the other day, and I put one swoop of one of them. It was so pigmented. I was like, wow, I can't wear that today. Not today. I was going to my kid's school. And so you take a white matte shadow and you just brush it on over it, and that's going to mute it immediately. You can also blend them out. They're pretty easy to blend out. They do have in this palette the 3 different bases, and so one is a little bit more white, cooler toned, one is kind of in between cool and warm, and then one is a little bit more yellow undertoned. Mulder's yellower, Lyric is kind of in between, and Skulls is the coolest. That's another trick you can really play with. It works in a bunch of different ways. First, you can mix in the lighter shadows with the darker ones. Next of all, I always like to put a highlight shadow up here, especially when I'm doing a brighter look, just because I don't want too much color. I want control over how the whole eye looks, and that just gives kind of a neutral base area that isn't gonna be discordant with the colors you have in your eyes. It just kind of makes the whole look work really much better. The other thing I would say before I'm going to start with little tips is, with me, I can wear almost any color. I have neutral undertones, but more importantly, I can wear almost any color because I almost always, when I do colors like this, I will mix in brown or black. And so I've already got, just from what I was wearing before, I've already got a little bit of black eyeliner up on my upper waterline here, and I do a lot of that. Or I do black eyeliner, or I brush like black into the lashes, or gray, or brown, and that just makes it work on me. It just looks less kind of fake. What can be fun though is just taking a lighter shade, like this one right here, just any of the lighter ones, and just brushing it on your lid, and then taking a small brush and then just lightly lining the lashes about 2/3 in. So you take one color, line it about 2/3 in, and then you take a lighter shade, one of these base shades, and just put that in the inner corner, or you could take a sparkly white, which is always really pretty, and you kind of blend it into that color. Kind of my favorite, if I was going to look at this and say what are my favorite color tips, if you take a color like Swoon, this pink, or next to it Destroyer the red, both of those work really great when I have like a neutral taupe eye or even a smoky eye. I'll put a little bit, especially like a hot pink, right where my eyeball basically is, underneath. And it just makes my eyes pop and all of a sudden look less drab and dead. And then taking a pink or a red and working it into the outer corner here. Someone at Macy's at Union Square in San Francisco did this to me when I had what I thought was just like the most amazing, perfect, work neutral taupe eye look. And as soon as she did it on one eye, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how dead I looked before that happened. And so just mixing. And then I also really like taking any of the bolder colors, especially on me, the blues or the greens, and putting them as a lower liner. And again, I don't like too much green, too much blue, it's too much. So again, I personally like to put just a little bit of a lighter shade in the inner corner. And it can be a base color, or if you're taking like the purples, I would take this color out about 2/3 of the way in, and then I would take this lighter purple and put that in the inner corner, and then up, let me get a different brush, put it in the inner corner, and then just right in here, not just following where the eyeball is exactly, about, I don't know, maybe a 1/6 of the eye in. This one light yellow shade, Legend, this is a gorgeous, it's a shimmery, gorgeous yellow that works really beautifully just in the inner corner, again lining a little bit and then going about a 1/6 of the way in the eye. Greens are also a lot more neutral on than you would expect. Lemmy, this dark green, is actually quite neutral on. If you put that in the outer corner of your eye, especially if you have like browns, taupes, grays, it's gonna totally come alive. In fact, when Urban Decay did their smoked palette, they had a little booklet in there with a whole bunch of tips with working in color into a smoky eye, and a lot of it was either one of a couple things. It was either, again, you know, lining the lower lash, working it right into just that center part of your eye to make it pop, and that's another thing you can do with any color. Lighter colors are going to make it open and look brighter, and darker colors are going to add this real deep sophistication, but you just put it all the way to the crease and then blend a little bit, or you put it either out in the whole outer corner here, or what I tend to do is I tend to put it a little bit here but then go into the crease, just because it makes my eyes pop open. They look a lot wider. I already have big eyes, but because I have so much lid space, for me it works a lot better to take it around through the lower lash line and then into the crease and leave that open. My daughter has more of an almond shaped eye, and on her the colors work a lot better just brushed straight across, maybe about the outer quarter of the eye, and then into the lower lash line. And that's really just a personal preference, and then also an eye shape preference. What I saw worked beautifully with a friend of hers who has kind of a hooded eye is if you want to work in kind of some of these darker colors, take something like Legend, which is a lighter, more shimmery shade, brush that on the lid first, and then start working in the darker colors around a pop of that lighter shade right in the middle of your eyelid. So I am gonna play now with a couple different tips and a couple of different looks, different ones on each eye, which means I'll have to wash it all off after. But before I start that, there's one last thing. So we've said that you can either do a wash of color, you can do it as a liner, you can do it in the crease, you can do a bright color right under just the eyeball, which totally makes your eyes pop. You can do it in the outer kind of quarter of your eye, and if you like, into the crease a little bit. You can take the lighter ones, the lighter shades, and put them in the inner part of your eye, lining just under your lash, and then going into about 1/6 of the way into your eyelid. And you can also, there's one more, you can also do light, gradiating darker, 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 and then mixing in a little bit of black, gray, or brown. And then the last tip is something I learned from just the most amazing makeup artist, and he called it the sandwich thing. And so this is the first thing I'm actually gonna brush on my eyes. So we're just gonna take one of the two taupes. And again, as they went with different undertones to the three kind of whitish beigey color or bone colors, these also have different undertones, with one being cooler than the other. So let me make sure I got it right. Noble looks warmer than Strutter. So we are going to dip the brush into one of the taupes, then we're going to dip it into a color, and then back in the taupe. And what it's doing, he called it the sandwich method, is what it's doing is it's adding a new undertone to that taupe. And you can do it with taupe, gray, any kind of a neutral color, it doesn't really matter. What it does is it gives it kind of more life, more vividness. You don't look, I never thought I looked kind of drab in taupes until someone started playing around with colors and started showing me that just adding a little bit of an undertone to it made such a huge, tremendous difference. And you can also play around with warm and cool undertones. If you've got really cool undertones, you can mix in a little bit of warm with cool colors, or cool with warm colors, to make it more wearable. And if you've got really warm undertones and you want to wear a cool color, you can mix in, let's say, you know, a warmer taupe or a cooler taupe, just the opposite of what your particular color is, to make it work better. And then if you look at Legend, the yellow as being kind of a great inner color, inner corner color. Love is also another one, Muse, and Vinyl if you're really bold. Really bold. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna take I'm gonna do Strutter, and I'm gonna do a really bold blue just for the fun of it. I like Synth a lot. I think it's a fun color. I'm dotting only a little though because it's a super bold color. I tried this the other day and I used a lot of it and it just came across as like, wow. So you can see how pretty that applies. It's just a really soft, and then if you think, oh my gosh, it's too much blue, you just take a little bit more of the Synth, no, not the Synth, of the Strutter, and you apply it in. Now these are super powdery, so you can see just with what I did, I'm already getting kind of kickback powder. This is the brush I'm using. It's like that for this type of a look. And then what we'll do is we'll take a really thin brush, and we're gonna get a little bit bolder on this eye. And I'm taking the Synth again, and I'm now going to really softly, because this is a very, very bright blue, line. Okay, when I've lined it, then I'm going to take this pointed brush, and I'm going to go back into Synth, and I'm going to put softening of the line and widening the line out as it goes. So it's thinner here as it goes out to the outer part of the eye. I'm widening it. And then I'm going to just take, I'm going to do skulls, and you can use almost any brush, and just put some of that there. And I mean, this look in and of itself actually works, but now I'm going to take more of skulls, and I'm going to put a little bit in the inner corner, and then I'm also going to soften the blue right in here so that it's fading out darker. Now I'm going to take, was it Vox, the darker brown, and I'm going to dot a little bit in the outer crease. And a little bit out in the outer corner, which is going to mute that. And then I need to blend this. You can use your fingers or you can use a brush. Now if this were a different eye shape, a lot of eye shapes, I would actually take that brown and build it up in the outer corner as well. But for me, I'm just going to really do it just in the crease and in the under part of the eye. At this point, to kind of play around with this, I was so excited. I wanted to do the black too. So we've got black metal, and here, what I like to do with it, my mirror's at a weird angle, is I just like to work a little bit of that black into my eyelashes. I can't do black lines. They look way too harsh on me. But if I do this, and you can do it wet or dry, you're going to get a stronger line if you do it wet, but you can do it wet or dry. Just like that. And there we go. Now what I would do when I'm doing a lot of color is I would then take a black eyeliner and work that into the upper waterline. I don't very often do it on the lower waterline, but that's actually a really pretty look. I wasn't going to do that. Maybe I'll do a separate one with that. What you can do is you can do, I think I will do it actually. We just changed our plan. So what I was going to do is I was going to do a taupe eye, and then I was just going to put some red into the crease, and I might actually turn off the video and add that later. But what I really want to do right now is just take the black. So I'm going to pause this for a second. Okay, I'm back. We're gonna do something we didn't plan on doing. So I'm not going to do mascara this go around because it'll just make it really hard to do the last look. But I wanted to do one of my favorite looks. So just take a black eyeliner, and it's better to do kind of a matte dark black eyeliner. You can use whatever one you want. I'm just using NARS because it happens to be the one that I have right next to me, but I actually would more likely use a Kajal. And then you want to line on the inner part of your eye. And for most people this is going to be a nighttime look, but you can play it up, you can play it down, you can make it super dramatic. But this is basically taking a black base like this, and then we're going to do, let's do Rewind, because that way it won't be quite as wild. So Rewind is that kind of reddish purple burgundy. And then you just slowly, this is again with that pointy eye brush, pointy eyeshadow brush, I take it right where that pink part of my eye is, and then I just start making it wider as we get to the outer part of the eye. And you can do any color with this, any of them. And if you have more almond shaped eyes than I do, you will want this line to be a little thicker. With mine, because I have so much lid space, I have to be really careful about how much eyeshadow I put on, or I just look like I have way too much eyeshadow. But if you've got deeper set eyes, or you've got almond shaped eyes or smaller eyes, you might be able to get away with a lot more of just that really pretty effect. And then I'm going to take this yellow Legend, and I'm going to put this in the inner corner. And we are going to do the mascara, then we're going to take this off. We're going to do mascara first. So see how simple that is? And I actually don't use another eyeshadow with this, but we'll show one other look once I do with the mascara, because I want you to see the black with the mascara, and then we're going to play around more with it. Just like this. And once you put the black with the color, it just makes it really pop. I know I keep changing my mind as I'm shooting the video, but that happens. Alright, so there you go. Now we're really going to play with this one to have some fun. So we're going to go back to the black metal. And yeah, you know, some people would say, why did you not? I'm just trying to get my brush, I dropped it. Why did you not do that before you did the mascara? Because I just wanted to show you how this looks. So I'm taking another brush here, and I'm going to put a little bit of black, again, into the lashes. And it's easier to do once you don't have mascara. but I can still do it. And now we've built up the black a little bit more to make it a little bit more dramatic, a little bit less bright. And I'm going to do a little bit of that in the outer corner as well. What you can do next is, again, I'm going to take Skulls, which is a good neutral, and put that up here. And then I'm going to work in, a little bit of Analog mixed with Noble. And again, you can see it's still that bright orange, but mixing it with Noble, you're getting a much more muted orange. And there we have a lot of color, but it's a subtle color. So the other thing I would say before I turn the camera off and do one more look is, because I'm putting stronger eyes and a lot of black, I have a very neutral lip. This is the Best Made Mucho by NARS, and it's kind of a warm pinky orangey nude, and then I've just got a very neutral blush on. When you're doing a lot of color, it's better to kind of figure out what your entire look is. It's not necessarily that if you're doing cool, you want warm cheek or cool cheeks. If you're doing cool eyes, cool cheeks. It depends on your complexion. If I have cool eyes, sometimes I like to play up the warm cheeks so the look doesn't look too cool on me. I tend to use a lot of nude neutral blushes when I'm doing a lot of color on my eyes. But if you're doing a more muted color, like what we've got here, you've got color, but it's still more muted, then you can play a lot more with the blushes. And a lot of times, like if I've got a lot of purple going on, I either want a pink or a purple base blush, just because on me it looks better. And then I'll want to be really careful with my lips. I'll either, when I'm doing a lot of color, I'll do lighter pink on the lips and the cheeks, or orange base. I tend to do actually a lot more peach when I'm doing blues and greens, and then I will do a lot of pinks with purple. Although if you have a warm complexion, sometimes taking the purple and mixing in like oranges actually works a lot better on you. It just depends on what works with your coloring. But those are some ideas. All right, I'm going to take this off and I'm just going to do another natural look so that I've at least given you a couple different options. Just one second. Hi, I'm back. My camera didn't film, it just turned off. So I've already started this look, but I took Muse and I took a big powdery brush and I just brushed it on like this. And this is the MAC 217. And then I took a flat eyeshadow brush. So you're not getting a super thin line with this, which is exactly what I want. I don't want a super thin line. Again, I like to gradiate it out, thinner right in here and thicker toward the outer part of the eye. And then again, taking my favorite Skulls and just putting a little bit of that in the inner corner and blending it into where I've lined underneath. And so that's just a really simple, natural look. You can mix in a little bit of black. I have a little bit of black left over eyeliner just because it's hard to get it out of the waterline without really irritating my eye, so it's gonna stay. And we'll do the mascara in a minute. And then I wanted to do one more look. This is where I was starting at the very beginning. This is kind of the day that I had that epiphany about, oh, I can't just do taupe. So we're gonna take Lyric, and I'm trying to talk fast because, you know, videos get too long at a certain point. Take Lyric, and then take the Strutter, and again, just basic eyeshadow brush, flat eyeshadow brush, putting it on, and then putting it underneath. This is the kind of look that we do all the time, right? And it's pretty. It really is. It's just basic, basic, basic. But now we're gonna play around with it. So now I'm gonna take a little Destroyer, and I need a better mirror. And I actually prefer a different brush, which I can't find. There it is. So we take the red and just work that into the outer corner, and then I actually work it into the crease and under the lower lash line. Again, if you've got a different eye shape, you might want to just put it in the outer, not just in the outer crease corner, but in the outer corner itself. Now all of a sudden, I look a lot more alive. And then we're going to take Vox and put a little bit of that and mix it in. And then I'm going to line with Vox. I'm not going to wet it. I'm going to do it dry. What we were doing with the black. Just mix a little bit of that into my lashes themselves. And I use a bigger brush when I don't want it quite as precise. But you can also, I want a little bit of a wider line right now. You can also use a much smaller eyeshadow brush. And then you're going to get a much more precise line. I tend to like my liners a little lighter and thicker. And so there, just that little bit of red all of a sudden has made my eye come alive. And I don't think I applied that fully evenly, but that's okay. We're on our 4th eye look. I think by the 4th one. Then I'm going to take Lyric again, put a little bit in the inner corner just to lighten it up. And then I'm going to do my last little favorite trick, which I would never do with the red, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to take Swoon. This is like my new favorite thing. Just put a little bit of pink right there. And all of a sudden, my eye brightens up. Now we're going to grab the mascara if we can find it. I'm on a slanty chair and everything falls down. And do a little bit of mascara so you can see, because the eyes always look better with the mascara. I tend to do under the eyes first. And I can already see this needs to blend a little bit. And if you like the way, what is my left eye looks, this right here, the purple, you can get that same kind of look with any of the brights. So let's say we wanted to do Misfit, a really pretty green, but we didn't want Misfit to be quite that bold. We would then take, I would take Skulls, dot it a little bit in Misfit, take more Skulls. Here it is. Put it on, and you get a really pretty light green shade. And again, I would do a little bit of black eyeliner in my waterline, which I already have anyway from not having it taken it fully off before, just because having less of that purple next to my eye makes my eye look less pink-eyed thing. So anyway, those are some looks. I would love to get thoughts, suggestions, comments, if you have other tips. And that's all I have to say in this video. Please subscribe on YouTube. It helps me a lot. Thank you.